Well, welcome back to the podcast, one and all. I have the pleasure today of sitting down with Jess Cox. Jess, thanks so much for being here.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hell yeah. So, Jess is an impact strategist, legacy advisor, resource connector, and founder of Impact Loop. We're also from the same small town in the South Island of New Zealand with a population of about 50,000, and somehow came to be working with a mastermind organization called Maverick 1000 on the other side of the world, being part of a team of about five. So, with the help of ChatGPT, I was able to calculate that the likelihood of that happening is about the same as being struck by lightning twice. So I'm pretty sure that the universe has brought us together for some reason. And so, Jess, yeah, thanks again for being here, and I look forward to diving in and learning more about your business love story. Perhaps do you want to kick us off with just telling us where that commenced for you? Where would you say the journey towards creating Impact Loop began?
Absolutely, I can. And I know you've just given me a spectacular intro, but I'm also noticing that my internet is average. So if I'm glitching out, we can absolutely pause it, read it, and jump back in. But
Yeah,
the
no worries.
the synchronicity of us meeting was like probably one of the most exciting things that's happened recently. Just being from such a small town, I went abroad to find more connections and purpose and opportunity, and to realize that you had stumbled across the same mastermind coming from the same small town. It was just really great to connect as well. So that synchronicity is one of many that I've had in my life, and is one of the reasons why I think I started down this path as well. I feel like the luckiest person on the planet to be doing what I do, and which I will get into what I do soon. But I think it's just a really integral part of the origin of Impact Loop in my entrepreneurship journey. So I found just a random podcast with someone who is now a client and a mentor of mine, and another woman who owned a private island, who basically said, just, learn while you're earning as well, and don't just work to earn. Really go
Mm,
after what you're wanting, burn the boats. And coming from 9 to 5s all the way through my life in industries that I like, working on some sustainability projects and wildlife regeneration when I was in school too, in a wetland project. There was a lot of random things that I'd done, and I'd realized that I'd accumulated a very, not to sound like Liam Neeson, but unique set of skills. And if I was able to repurpose those, then I kind of had something under my belt that I could maybe do in the consulting space. So I found B Corp certification, worked with a gentleman called Tim here in New Zealand. He runs Grow Good. He's in Christchurch. And he took me under his wing after a very intense LinkedIn message that I sent him. And so from there, it just kind of skyrocketed off. I was following what this podcast was suggesting, and I realized that there are a lot of individuals and businesses who really want to leave a legacy that they're proud of, but they just don't really know how. And so I was working with them on the certification for B Corp for a while, and then ended up kind of finding a lot of these synchronicities that had me on the island where this podcast woman lived, and held events. And so I don't know if later on into this story we'll jump into some of the synchronicities that we've discussed previously, if that'll come up. But
certainly.
yeah. But it was there that I also started connecting with ultra high net worth individuals, those who have exited companies or have large organizations with a lot of resource, who kind of are on their second time around, maybe realizing that they wanted to be known for something that was really impactful. And during that time too, a lot of these business owners who maybe hadn't exited or weren't at that wealth point yet were just incredible entrepreneurs or experts in their space who wanted to be connected with impactful projects as well. And so in my time on the island, where I went for an event and then became a contractor, I met these two groups of people and understood my purpose to be a connector of resource, of people, of intention, and of synchronicity. So recognizing, there's so many people on this planet. It's never really a coincidence that you end up in the same room with someone, much like what's happened with us. And so I always like to have incredible conversation and investigate where that connection could occur. And Impact Loop as a company formed on the flip side of that, as I just started helping people I now consider friends do incredible things with their resource. And it's kind of taken off from there. It's still taking shape, but I think it's just such a magnificent way to do business. Yeah, that's kind of where
Brad,
rambling I'm at.
it's an amazing story. And we could go in a million directions, but tell us more about some of your favorite synchronicities.
Sure. So it's funny that you are bringing that up now because I've just got, I don't know if I've got the books with me, but I was just back at my parents' house and I'd left some journals that I'd written in during COVID era. Um, and it was around this time when I was just trying to figure out what the heck I was doing with my life, what my purpose was, and why anything even mattered anyway, because we're going to be locked in forever, right? So
Yeah.
it's a really introspective moment. In that journal, I'd kind of written every single day about some of the things that I was wanting to occur. And I still have a lot of audacity, but I must have had a lot of audacity back then because I wrote down that on my birthday, I would hire out the private island that this woman owned for my birthday. And the intention behind writing that was essentially when I turned 30, I'd be able to afford the private island for my family and friends because one of my
Mm-hmm.
whys, the reason I do this is to give experiences to those who may not be able to do it themselves. So it's like, perfect, write that down. And then as time progressed, in 5 or 6 months after that point, I had the opportunity to go to an event that was on the island as part of a program that I signed up for, which was for entrepreneurship. And they didn't really know when the event was going to be happening. And I make it sound and saying it this way, like it was I'll just drop, 30 grand or whatever on this program and the travel to go to this. I basically realized I needed to be in the room with the people who had resource and wanted to do impactful things with their lives. And I was not in that room. I was currently in an apartment in a country where you couldn't really leave. So I just kind of went all in, burnt the boats, and was like, right, I want to take this course because I want to understand what I want to do with the skills that I've got. And I have some semblance of an idea. But I just don't know how to action it yet. So I'll do this. If I can make it to the island whenever they have those dates, that's fine. And I'm just kind of releasing that part of it to the universe because I have no idea how I'm going to get there. But I sold my car, like 90% of what I owned, just everything that I felt was holding me back and what I basically took a guess at the next step I would need to take in order to make this a reality. And so the course ended up starting, and it was a 12-week program. And about 3 weeks into the program, they released the dates that we could be going to this island to meet up with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that the dates, and no one had known like 5 or 6 months earlier that I'd written it down. And no one apart from the universe or whatever you want to call it knew that those were the dates I had written down. But it turns out that they had put the dates for the retreat at the end of the program to be on my birthday. So I ended up spending
Damn, that's
my
crazy.
birthday on the island that I was going to hire out for my birthday. I think I just didn't get specific enough when I said that I was going to be on the aerial for my birthday, but I was. And so
Yeah.
that was one of many. And I think I'll probably send you the video if you'd like of me figuring out that I'd found it in my journal because it was just ludicrous. Because I'd come back from America or come back from the British Virgin Islands after I'd been there. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many little side stories that I could go into from that period of my
Yeah.
life. But I came back, and that was when I was looking through my journals to see what I wanted to take before I jetted off out of New Zealand because I realized that what was for me may not have been there, but it was in this direction.
Yeah.
And that's when I found it. And so I sent it to one of my mentors and the incredible gentleman, Jeremy Newsom, who co-ran that podcast. And I was like, hey, this is crazy. I just found where I wrote this because I thought I was actually delusional because how could that be legitimate? And
Yeah.
it was. So yeah, I'll definitely send you the video of that. I don't know if you want to plug it in
Please
here
do.
or just at yourself, but crazy.
Yeah. That is amazing. So what do you make of it? Like, what do you think synchronicities are?
Mm. That is a question I have not been asked before, and it's a fun one. Gosh, I love you, Chris. You're amazing. I think there's I don't know if it really ties into this too directly, but I think it is related. In some of Naval Ravikant's work, he speaks about the
Uh-huh.
different kinds of luck. And I always
Yeah.
butcher the 3 different kinds. And I don't know if you want to comment elsewhere. I don't know if we've spoke about this.
You
Please.
sent the you sent the link to Naval's kind of the wrap up of his
Yeah.
one of his tweet storms about how to get rich in the Maverick Next chat, and I appreciate
You,
that. I listened to it.
I was going to say which you definitely listened to, surely.
Yeah, I
Sure.
did. Yeah, I did. I've listened to it kind of in pieces over the last couple of weeks, like while working out and what have you. In the small amount of time that I get to listen to podcasts these days, having a 5-year-old and whatnot. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. And yeah, the 4 different types of luck. Yeah, I would butcher that to try to recount them as well. But
Right, give it a
I'll
go.
let you give it your best shot.
Yeah, we can give it a go. I can try and relate it
Yeah,
back to your question around synchronicity too, because I think it ties in.
yeah.
Like, but you've obviously got just that dumb luck where you just happen to stumble across things because you live in a world or a universe that you believe,
Hmm.
gives these things, these opportunities to you. Which I do. I love dumb luck. It's a great kind of luck, but it can't be but you can't really tell when it's going to happen. And then my remembrance of it and how I remember these, and they work for
Yeah,
me, is the opportunistic luck. When you understand what an opportunity looks like when it's a good one, because you have the
yeah,
background, know that it's a great chance at maybe getting lucky on something. And then you've got the um, specialized luck, is what I would like to call it. And the example he gives is that you've, spent a decade learning to be the best deep sea diver who can
hmm,
retrieve things, and you've got someone who's randomly found the shipwreck that has a lot of gold on it, and you are the only person on the planet who can retrieve it because of the unique skill set that you've gotten. And so all of a sudden their
yeah,
dumb or opportunistic luck also becomes yours by extension. And so for me, I feel my synchronicities have been a combination of the two, and have now in the past year and a half become that third kind of luck as well, which I'm grateful for.
yeah,
But I mean, anytime that there's just these random third or fourth degree connections, which is getting rarer and rarer. I'm starting to realize it's normally second or first degree connections because the world is so small. But anytime there's these random connections that come up, whether it's in industry, people, environments like ourselves. Um, Anytime I get an idea, a thought, something that's positive that feels like something I personally wouldn't have thought before, I kind of lean into that a lot. And perhaps that's more that intrinsic intuition. But those are the feelings and some of the like what I look out for synchronicity, and just always try and expand my knowledge base so that if there is opportunity to come up, either for myself or the people that I know, I can spot it.
yeah,
And the synchronicities, whenever they do happen, I acknowledge, big or small, with a lot of gratitude, because
yeah,
it is a massive world, but it's just feeling so connected for me now, which I love so much.
yeah. Is there a fourth
The
kind
most
of luck?
roundabout. I couldn't remember. I think I only remember there being 3. If there's a 4th one, I'm open to knowing it. I'll always take more luck.
Yeah, I would.
Should
I
we?
got to go back. Like I was trying to bookmark that, and I think I might have like found it on my phone while I was working out, and then didn't get around to like bookmarking it on my desktop to go back and actually read it. But I think there was a fourth kind of luck, and it was something to. He said it was more or less like destiny. I think, and maybe it's like a roll
Yes.
up of like the former 3 kinds of luck or something like that.
Yeah, so there is 4. You're so right. Here I am only remembering 3. I've just given it a Google. I don't know if that's a podcast, like, not a great thing to do, but I've just Googled while we're on it. So you've got blind luck, which is that pure chance.
Yeah,
Hustle luck. We've got hustle luck. So that's persistence, hard work, and creating the opportunities. Preparation luck, which is the ability to
yeah,
spot lucky breaks. And then unique luck,
yeah,
which is when your unique character and brand attract opportunities, making luck find you.
yeah.
So
That is
I
an interesting
think
one.
I've definitely been in hustle luck, and that was during that lockdown period when my days were insane, and it was like that
Yeah,
2
yeah.
job working for
You're grinding.
free,
Yeah,
early things, late night grind.
yeah,
Didn't feel like luck at the time, but I think that's when those opportunities came in, and to me, because it just resulted in work that might have been difficult or hard, but it felt easy. I think I just considered
yeah.
myself lucky then as well, and I just thought it was spotting opportunity, but perhaps it was hustle luck. Very cool. Nice. Thanks for pointing out the 4th
Yeah.
luck opportunity. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
What's the fourth one called again?
there's blind luck, hustle luck, preparation luck, or unique luck.
Yeah, unique luck. So, like, unique luck, as you said,
The
requires the
luck that
following of
finds you.
intuition. Yeah. How do you tune into your intuition?
Yeah, I'll go to that too, and I think the unique luck piece is that, as well as just magnetizing those opportunities to you by becoming someone who's known for what you do. So like,
Yeah.
um, I think that lends itself into a lot as well. But for me, my intuition is kind of noticing those thoughts that I mentioned earlier, where what's a great example? So like for that synchronicity example I gave, I got this kind of download voice in my head, slightly woo-woo. I didn't really believe it at the time and it didn't make any sense, but I just figured I'm no worse off listening to this
I love
tiny
it.
voice. I'm like, we'll just
Whatever
see where it
comes
goes.
next, I'm gonna love, because I love the setup.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, well, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna it's not gonna hurt me to try, but it certainly was
Hmm.
a big jump. So that was like a voice in the shower moment. So you have to join this program. I
Yeah.
wasn't really sure why. It wasn't a thought I'd had before. There was no part of me that felt it was even possible. And it was just not what my subconscious would think on its own. And so that's probably been one of the biggest tells that um, that I've come to love as well, is if it just feels like an out of pocket thought and it's positive, like my intuition is always kind of a
Yeah.
positive thing, then I'll run with it and just see where it goes. And I've learned to differentiate that between or at least spend time, if it's a voice in my head that's telling me something's not a good idea, not to do it, like I'm not ready for it, these kind of things. I'll sit and think about whether or not it is intuition or if it's a gut feeling that's come from something in the past that's either not true or like a subconscious belief that doesn't serve me as well. So being able to differentiate between them and acknowledging when my intuition's been correct in a positive way, as I
Yeah.
say, as small or as big as it may be, it's been really, really, really helpful in just finding the people that I work with, ending up in the most crazy circumstances. And yeah, I trust it implicitly, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Would you say, like, a lot of what we're talking about is a little bit esoteric, to some ears perhaps, but like, would you say, like, is business, this is sort of like, it sounds like it's sort of like borders on spirituality, right? Like spiritual kind of voice or something like that. Would you say, is business spiritual for you?
I think for the people that I work with as a whole, I think we've gone down a track where it certainly isn't in a lot of cases. But I think the mere art of creating something that you have in your mind in the
Yeah.
form we've got, like we live in a system, we love it. Capitalism has got us a bunch of things that we enjoy, and creating through that vessel has to be spiritual, right? Like bringing something like that into fruition from your mind. There's got to be something about it that is spiritual. And I think I definitely lean into the purpose aspect of business and what people want to be doing in this lifetime to also, hone in on the skill sets they have, the resource they've got access to. But I think it is that third point of, what do you really feel called to do in your time on this planet?
Yeah.
What really brings alive a spark in you, even if it doesn't feel like it relates to your skill set?
Hmm.
Uh, it's crazy when you can find that synchronicity and connection, and that might just be like one skill or one connection away that actually allows you to do this thing that you're called to do. So, yeah, I do think that business is innately spiritual, especially because you end up connecting with a bunch of different people on the
Yeah.
planet and what they do.
Is helping people connect with that spark, is that a big part of what you do?
Yeah, I think it is. It can be very um, practical and analytical. You can be going through a company's resource piece by piece, like looking at all the verticals within a
Yeah.
company, or for a person, looking at all the different kinds of capital that they have. So not necessarily just financial. Like you can be very practical and analytical about it. But some of my favorite beginnings of connections and relationships, or like, I guess the term would be a discovery call in some ways, but I don't love that, is
Yeah.
having an hour or two, or sometimes at events, it's a multi-day conversation that really just dives deep into a lot of what's being discussed now in the business space, which is, you know, what is the purpose and the why behind the work that you're doing? Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
One of my mentors early on, and it was actually at this island event, she wrote her eulogy as an exercise to figure out what she felt her purpose was, like what she wanted to be said about her when she died, taking
Yeah.
away all of the things you like should be doing.
Yeah.
And it's something that I found super powerful as well, and pull into the conversation sometimes, you know?
Yeah. So she wrote her eulogy. You wrote your eulogy, as have I, and I think all of us found this to be a powerful exercise. Um, is that something that, or maybe is that something that you do with clients, or like how do you help clients navigate to like what's most meaningful to them? And because I believe that's a core part of what you do is helping people like legacy planning, right? Is that tell us more about
Mhm.
that if you would.
Yeah. So I think the eulogy piece is certainly a tool that I have used, especially with older clients who, might have been the ones that have accumulated their wealth, and now they've got younger kids who are either wanting to re-steward that elsewhere, or they're just wanting to rethink what they do in this, I don't want to say second chance at life, but for some of them it feels that way,
Yeah. Hmm.
because they obviously were very successful at making the money in the way that they did, and
Yeah.
they either want to make money in a new way or just redirect that. So when I work with them, part of it is a eulogy conversation. Um, I mean, other parts of it are just talking about childhood in some way as well. I think I'm very lucky at my age, and especially the age in which I started this, asking for advice from those that are ahead of you. And I suggest it's anyone who is younger as well, in the space of people who are far more successful than you are, asking what they would have done at your age, or asking for suggestions on what they'd do now, knowing where you're at, is a really great way of opening up perhaps what they feel that they would have done differently. And I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite ways to open up a new avenue of conversation as well, after asking that question, is how they think their life would be different now if they had have done that. If they had have
Right.
become a marine biologist out of school, or if they had gone into, this avenue of learning, or, gone more into the nonprofit space, bought land out in this random part of the world. So it just kind of reopens up this idea of what they wanted to do maybe when they were younger, and felt that they had the whole world to do before they kind of had these barriers or limitations placed around them. Um, yeah, because now they have that opportunity to revisit it, but just haven't thought about it for a while.
Awesome. So that's a way that you essentially unlock their dreams.
Kind of, yeah. I think another one of my mentors, just, I think it was such a simple sentence, um, but it was basically just like, you can have a new dream every 30 seconds if you wanted to. It's
Yeah.
inefficient.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get anything done if you are just like thinking about something new that you could do that frequently.
Hmm.
And we live, you got to play the system where you actually are working on something for a decent amount of time to bring it to life. But it's this idea, like, so many people feel they're just so locked in, or they've already, made their reality and it is the way that it is. And so they can't change it. Or it was a dream of this past version of themselves, so they can't do it now. Like, this, everyone kind of finds a way to make an excuse on why they can't bring a dream to life. And so I just enjoy kind of figuring out the ways that we can make that happen. And if it's a dream from their childhood, or a dream from the person that they were before they felt they had to go down a certain path,
Yeah.
that's way more fun, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Are you at liberty to talk about like some of the favorite projects that you've helped birth with your clients?
Sure, I think there's probably a couple that spring to mind that I could talk about. What would be interesting? There is. the kind of like a personal fate. Well, actually, I'll give a caveat to this as well, into why I find some of them so interesting and why I love them and why I even started this in the first place. And then I can talk about a couple of projects. I realized we should do a B Corp certification and kind of seeing a lot of the problems in the world that we have that I obviously couldn't do much as an individual, but coming across these companies or these individuals with a lot of resource who, it's great when we can uncover what they want to do, but at the time it was like they were just asking what they could do, if anything at all, to improve their impact. I could kind of plant the seed of the change that I wanted to see happen in these companies or with these individuals who had the resource to make it happen. So I kind of
Yeah,
want to say
awesome.
it was a little bit selfish why I started Impact Loop. But it was to kind of develop the change that I wanted to see. And now I've just learned to have kind of gone down the path of it being the change that the client wants to see a lot as well. But that was how it initially started. And so
Uh-huh.
along that vein, and some of the projects that I've loved, one of them, which is still developing at the moment, was actually had me going out to the Philippines to look at a large marine vertebrate mammal research organization. And they, at the time, I think a couple of weeks after I'd arrived, were working with National Geographic on creating a camera that is far more accessible than what is on the market already, that allows research to occur at deep levels in the ocean. And after a certain time, it goes off, it comes back up so you can access what was filmed.
Right.
Incredible work happening there. And then obviously just looking at the populations as they come in and out, and just doing a basic research on the individuals that are in the area. But I met them at an event in the UK. They were doing a panel to talk on how they were using AI to identify these individuals. And I've got a client who, down the marine biology line of things, was just really interested in it when they were younger, didn't really get into the space, and made their money in just metalwork industry, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'd wanted to kind of redirect funds to that space. And so it was going out to see what kind of work that they were doing. I was able to be on site, which was amazing. And it felt like I had also gone down the route that I wanted to, because I'm pretty sure everyone has at some point wanted to be a marine biologist.
Yeah.
But it felt like they had that opportunity, which was really, really cool. So it's a complete, there's no reason that there would be a correlation between someone working in that space wanting to give back in that way, or at least donate to something that is ocean based, but it was a massive passion of theirs. And then there is another project that I'm working on at the moment with an individual who has a law firm who wants to change the child custody family law space as well. And so he wants to create a platform where pro se litigants without representation going through child custody battles are able to understand all the documentation and questions they need to be asking and answering in order to have everything that they need to have a great chance at keeping their children if they're facing financial barriers or limitations. And so it just needs to be a far more equitable space, and that's the legacy that he wants to leave, is changing that. And so at the moment, you can't be a non-lawyer practicing law, obviously, but that is fundamentally what happens when you start using AI in these spaces as well. So it's working kind of at the
Right.
front line on what is legally allowed for the benefit of the population. So it's, I think coming into the AI age too, I do believe it allows a lot of access where we otherwise wouldn't have, had it. And so it's really exciting just seeing what some of my clients are wanting to do there too, or some of the companies that they're wanting to invest in. If we've got younger generations that are doing incredible things, which is also kind of Maverick Next-ish. Yeah, this is such a tangential ramble of things.
No, that's
I
all good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's good to get this understanding, get a little bit more of an idea of some of the work that you do. What is like what does an ideal client look like for you?
so it's it is so varied. I think it comes down to enjoyment at this point as to who I enjoy working with. Um, an ideal client in terms of what we can offer is still, businesses who are wanting to assess where their impact is at currently, where they want to be going, what they can do with the resource that they have, because they've obviously got a bunch of different kinds of resource, including the human capital, the connection capital, their financial capital if they've got it, the skills, the services, in-kind things that they can contribute to their impact. Love
Mm-hmm.
looking through all of that and then seeing how these businesses can give back to their communities that they exist in, continue to look after their workers, what their environmental impact is. So still down the vein of what B Corp is or used to be as well. But then some of my favorite ones are the individual clients or the offices that I work with who have these really individualized, personalized, niche interests or things that they want to
Yeah.
bring to um and so they like it's often as I've mentioned as well, it's like it's often just those older generations who want to be known for something better, or some of the really fun conversations are the younger individuals who are inheriting this wealth system that they've created
Yeah.
and want to redirect those funds or change the way that they do business as well, because there is just a massive generational change of what these guys care about, which I love,
Yeah.
the generation caring so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so for the old guys, like as you mentioned, like you get them back in touch with the inner child or like a different fork in the road that they might have taken. Do you find that, I guess, with the younger ones, like is it easier that they already know kind of like the impact they want to have, or there's some process for them as well of like helping them to uncover like what's uniquely theirs to do?
It's definitely it's normally a process to uncover what is theirs to do or what they're able to do, because I think it kind of comes back to the eulogy exercise a lot of the time as well. We, as a younger generation, may not have had all of the life
Yeah.
experience and the ups and downs that show us what we do or do not love. And purpose is kind of a tough thing for some people to put their finger on. And so some of them come pre-programmed with the
Yeah.
impact that they want to have. Um, Sometimes it's also just showing them what is possible. And, I've got a couple of people who, I don't know if you know Randy from Go Big to Give Big. He
Don't think so.
like has I don't even want to call it a mission trip, but he's taking out a group of younger entrepreneurs and people to go and build homes within a community in Mexico that he goes back to every year. But that's something a lot of people will never have experienced before. And I just think showing them what's available to them for impact, be it education, be it the environmental side of things, uh, the communities that they're in, kind of leaning into their interests a little bit. Just it's all conversational to begin with about what they care about, what they think they might care about, showing them what they could do with that information, and then going from there, reaching out to my network to see who needs what as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like it took so long. Like I've started, this business love stories idea is obviously um feels like a combination. And I hope that I'm not falling into the trap of what you mentioned earlier, where it's possible to have a different dream every 30 seconds. But my life has felt like that to a degree over the last 10 or so years since selling a previous business. In my 20s, I sort of was in grind mode, much like, what you described during COVID. And then sold that business, found that cash alone doesn't necessarily equate to everlasting happiness. And then trying to figure out like what's uniquely mine to do. And it felt like I had to kiss a lot of toads, in order to, or it was like trial and error, and to try more things than I probably anticipated that I would have needed to try, in order to get to my true north, which for me is love, because um, uh, I like this Martin Luther King quote that I have on my website, that when he says, "When I speak of love, I'm not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. I'm speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as the supreme unifying principle of life." love is somehow the key that unlocks the door, which leads to ultimate reality. And so for me, like, I guess this is my, it's taken me a long time to get what I believe is essentially my true north. Um, how do you see the same thing with your clients? That there's a process to uncover to get them back to like what is the core, their core driving calling or desire.
Yeah, I think the trial and error piece is so important. Some of
Yeah,
these people have already gone through a lot of trial and error, and it's talking through those experiences and unpacking a little bit about, what brought them joy in those moments, what they despise, the skills that they learned through the trial and error that they've done. And then for some of them,
yeah,
it's sending them down another path of relearning through trial and error and giving them
yeah,
opportunities to see, just in small doses, what they care about. And
yeah,
obviously, it can be of bigger doses if they are younger as well, but it's just allowing them
yeah,
to, yeah, kind of like dabble in different opportunities, be on site for maybe some NGO work, or even just kind of getting contacts in industries that they want to be involved in but don't quite know what that looks like yet, to, simulate the trial and error that you just spoke about. Because I'm
yeah,
also a massive advocate for giving people opportunities that they don't feel ready for yet, but are absolutely deserving of and should, get to try, um, especially before they feel ready. Because I think the quicker that you can fail at something or try something to the point of failure is kind of when you figure out if you have the drive, the excitement, the ability to then figure out past failure. And that's when you get to see if you really want to progress down that route. Like, it's all fun and games to try something out, and if it works well, it's like, this is great, but do you still want to keep doing it? Is it something that you're passionate about when it's not working as you had hoped it would?
yeah, 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 exactly. Pushing through failure, huh? Where do you see yourself in, say, 3 years' time? Do you think still doing Impact Loop or something, something different?
I think impact loop for me is, I have a very strong attachment to impact loop because of what it means, both like in our values and why I set it up, and what it stands for.
Yeah,
And it was also this vessel that I had to interact freely with clients and people and build the company or build things with them in a really creative and free way. Like, we're not
yeah,
standard service provider. There's no massive system to onboard someone where it's like, hey, this is exactly what it looks like. It comes through a lot of the time referral. Like, I'll just get text messages or emails from people like, hey, so and so said that you're the person to call if we want to make something happen. Or I'll just be, yeah, randomly sent out to go to forums or investor summits, or there's one in the UK called Blue Earth Summit, which is amazing. They've got incredible businesses focused on impact there, but I think the first time I went out, I was just sent out to see if there was anything interesting. And so I completely lost track of the question that you initially gave me, but I think
just wondering,
impact
like, oh yeah, go ahead.
is,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry,
the
I
future, the future of Impact Loop.
back on track, and I was just talking about the things that I was excited about. And I'm like, damn, I'm gonna go down another ramble if I don't if
That's
I
all
don't
good.
rein it. But it was like, I still hold that randomness or space for synchronicity within impact loop. I think because it
Yeah,
doesn't hold this rigid structure
yeah,
as an entity, and we just basically serve a community of people who want to do really impactful things in their lifetime. And we're a
yeah,
globally distributed network of individuals who are experts in their spaces, who work at a fractional capacity. I think it's poised to take advantage of the gig economy as that grows, because we've got more and more people who are, leaving education, or companies that feel don't value them anymore, especially as they're replaced with AI, who have this incredible skill set or knowledge that can just be placed in projects or initiatives that need their skill set at that fractional level. So
yeah,
I would have to do something drastically off target to not still be an impact loop in 3 years. I think it
yeah,
will look I think it will look a little different, and we're working on developing it as a platform so that the work that we're doing in kind of cataloging all of my connections and resources that can provide service, cataloging those skill sets, and then with the projects that we work on, really just understanding what makes them work so well at a fundamental level to be able to receive that resource at a fractional in a fractional way to bring them to life. Like how we can make that incredibly accessible to people who don't just come to me through text messages or emails or random connections, but instead like an everyday person who, might have left their job due to what is happening in the AI space at the moment, where people aren't recognizing the human skill that they bring, so they've been made redundant. How can we give them impactful, purposeful work in a way where they're not picking up tasks that aren't in their zone of genius, and they are able to plug into these projects or initiatives that need their skill set to move the ball forward because they're so well organized. So that's kind of the direction that I want to be heading with this. And I think just what you're even saying about love being your true north as well. I think more and more people are starting to realize that is it's everyone's driver fundamentally. I think it's what the universe runs off of, and you and I have spoken about how we both believe that. And I think a lot of what you do, especially when the mundane tasks that people are given as part of a role can be automated or done by someone else, like you start having a massive shift in just the job market and communities who now need to find what they love and what their purpose is. So yeah, 3 years from now, I think I'm still going to be on that grind, but I think I'd like to make it more accessible to people who want to be doing work like I'm doing. And so that they don't have to have met me or be in my network of people to be placed in the projects or the jobs that we're working on, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's kind of where that's headed.
Awesome. And if people listening to this want to reach out and engage with you or find out more about working with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
I'm tempted to drop my WhatsApp number in there because I'm yet to meet someone that's like froth an email. I love an email. Email me. I'll put my email. I'll give you my email as well. But my favorite thing is a voice note. And if anyone's just like, hey, I want to, we understand the importance as a company to be transparent in our impact, but we don't know what that looks like, and it's scary because we feel like we haven't worked towards it. Those are conversations that I love to have as well. And if you are an individual who has exited anything, be it with a lot of money or just be it with a lot of resource, a lot of connections, in any way, if you feel like it's a restart in your life, I love having those conversations. I think conversations around impact and legacy is just where it starts. And I have a form set up on a website that I felt that I needed to have when I think it was last year that we built the website, because I was like, if I don't have this website up, I'm not a real business owner. But in reality, like the one-to-one connections, it's WhatsApp, it's sending through just the random requests. Like I love receiving the voice notes of like, hey, I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm missing something. And I'd love to run through what I've got and just figure out what it is that I can do in this lifetime, because some of the craziest stories come from the randomest synchronicities that I love. So
hell yeah.
WhatsApp, voice note me.
Beautiful. All right, cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and look forward to continuing to watch where you take it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this. It's always nice to ramble. I think we did succeed in that really well.
Yeah.
At least I did. I didn't let you word in.
That was great. Thanks so much.
See ya.